Hello students, so welcome to the chapter of compression. Now we have finished with one chapter from compression, one chapter of encryption. So we are again coming to the compression part. I hope this is the way I have taught you. I have finished the lessons in offline mode. So we will start with a new module, that is a audio compression. So the why we are doing this compression, well, because we have finished with the text, and I told you for all the available data, that is a text, audio and video, we will be studying the compression. So just to revise quickly why we are doing this compression, or what is a compression. It is a process that is useful for conserving both transmission bandwidth and storage space. The various audio compression techniques offer different level of complexity, compressed audio quality, and the amount of data compression. So I don't have to tell you that whenever you download any song, it gets downloaded in MP3 or MP4 format. So these MP3, MP4 are the standards of compression in which the audio or the video is compressed. So you have different level of complexity, and you have different level of audio quality also. So for example, whenever this recording has been made at the recording studio and they write it on the CD, so at their level they try to implement a complex algorithm for a compression. See, whatever you are going to compress at the receiver side, you have to follow a reverse procedure. So we always say that whatever is the complex level of algorithm is there for the compression, decompression should be easy. That is very important factor in audio compression, because when we are playing that particular CD at our player, so that CD has to be played throughout any of the MP3 player. It will not say that because you have used a complex algorithm, I'm not able to decompress. So decompress algorithm will be same for all the players which will be playing certain music. So this thing is main limitation when you go for a audio compression. So starting with, what is a audio or what is a sound? Sound is the sensation detected by our ears and intercepted by our brain in a certain way. So for that matter, whatever we are teaching you in the class, you might have that something is going on in the class but it is not reaching your brain. So that will not be called as a sound. I will not say that you have heard a sound. When you realize it, what is the source, what does the information it wants to convey, then only we say that okay, we are able to hear certain kind of a sound. Scientific. Say for example, whenever we are conducting online classes, that's when I ask you, am I audible? So until and unless you make out what I'm saying, you will not type yes. Okay. So if you're not able to understand what I'm trying to tell you, if my sentence is not clear, you are not able to make out any meaningful thing from it, you will reply me as no. This is a layman's language, that sound is a sensation detected by our ears, and for as a teacher, for me this part is more important, that it is intercepted by our brain in a certain way. Okay, if I have to define a sound in a more technical manners or a more scientific language, it can be called as a physical disturbance in a medium, definitely, because it propagates in the medium as a pressure wave, as a pressure wave by the movement of atoms or molecules. So I hope everybody knows that is the reason we say in the vacuum you cannot hear the sound, because there is no medium which can carry this particular phenomena. Okay. One more definition: sound is a wave phenomena like light, but is macroscopic and involves molecules of air being compressed and expanded under the action of some physical device. Definitely. So you can imagine any speaker where we talk and the diaphragm vibrates because of the pressure. For example, as I told you, a speaker in an audio system vibrates back and forth and produces a longitudinal pressure wave that we perceive as a sound. So the first thing what we do, if I'm trying to talk in a mic and if I'm not audible, if the sound is not coming, we try to tap that particular mic. So we are seeing that we try to create a physical vibration in that particular device. Since sound is a pressure wave and it takes on continuous values as opposed to digitalized one. So the moment we say it is a wave, so when I say wave, we all have wave, we all imagine like this. Whenever I say wave, you will not imagine something a square wave, or I don't think anybody will imagine something like this when we say wave. The first thing which comes to our mind when we say wave is this. So I can always say that it is a continuous wave and it is a analog in a nature. Even though such pressure waves are longitudinal, they still have ordinary wave properties and behavior. What do you mean by ordinary wave properties? We are not talking about amplitude or frequency. That also we will talk about, but not right now. So ordinary wave properties are nothing but reflection. Yes, the wave gets reflected back. Refraction, that is the change of an angle when entering a medium with a different density, and the direction, bending around an obstacle. So we all have experienced this kind of a phenomena at some or the other level in our life when we heard echo and many more things. You have many more interesting things when you talk about sound. So if we wish to use a digital version of a sound waves, we must form a digitalized representation of audio information. The moment we say we are going to compress, so we have to find out some data, some properties of this audio, which we can delete, which we can eliminate, or if the data is redundant. So if I have to find those things, there is no way that I will be able to do this entire process without converting into a digital representation. So what do you mean by digitization here? Digitization means conversion to a stream of numbers. See, the way I told you, the image is also represented with the numbers, because numbers represent, we call it as a pixel. So here digitization means conversion to a stream of numbers, and preferably these numbers should be integers for efficiency. See, when we are going to work, it is always better if you give me an integer instead of any fraction number or something. We will try to work with integer. So now this particular figure shows you the one dimensional nature of the sound. So I have an amplitude here and I have a time. So the amplitude values depend on 1D variable, that is a time. So if you we have not started with the image, but when we go to the image, we say the image value depends on two dimensional x and y, but for the time being we will just concentrate on audio. So the audio is your one dimensional uh, data, or a one dimensional value. Okay. Now to digitize, the signal must be sampled in each dimension. So when I have drawn a wave like this, if I have to digitalize, so what do we do? The first thing, we take certain values at a certain interval and we note down those values. So ideally, what are we doing? This is nothing called as a sampling, that you take some values at a certain interval and try to represent and try to form a digitalized wave. Now, when we are going to do this, we are seeing that we have to digitalize the value in time domain, and we have to digitalize the value in amplitude domain also, or the amplitude also. So when this we are familiar with, that we are doing it in a time domain. When we do this procedure, that you are going to take samples of amplitude also. So you are going to you are doing it vertically because you are doing it with respect to time. Okay, here you are doing it with respect to amplitude. So when you are doing sampling with respect to amplitude, it is called as a quantization. You must have heard quantization term before also, because I'm assuming that you have studied pre-com properly, even if you have not given an exam, but at least these basic concepts you remember. If not, when we'll be doing a block diagram ahead or something, we might revise these concepts again. So the quantization is sampling the analog signal in a amplitude dimension. So you have to remember this. So what is a digital audio? Because we are talking about digitization. Digital audio is a technology that is used to record, yes, to record, to store, to manipulate and generate and reproduce the sound using audio signals that have been encoded in digital form. See the word here, reproduce the sound using audio signal. So when we are going to record the song which has been composed, which has been sung, we are going to store it, we are going to manipulate it. What do you mean by manipulate here? I can add certain captions to it, I can add some titles to it, I can insert any ad to it. Okay, so and at the end I should be able to generate and reproduce the sound which was originally processed, or which was originally encoded in a digital form. It also refers to the sequence of discrete samples that are taken from analog video audio waveform, definitely, because when the moment we say digitize or digital audio, we all think of a numbers, and where are from those numbers we have taken those numbers from an analog audio waveform. Instead of continuous sinusoidal wave, digital audio is composed of discrete points which represent the amplitude of the waveform approximately. So, approximately is the word which we'll be using, because you are once it is analog, if you have you are the approximation, you will go close to that original if you go on increasing your sampling rate. What does it mean? If you take more and more number of sample, chances are that, yeah, that you will be going to your original waveform. The more samples taken, the better the representation, and hence impacts the quality of the digital audio. Most modern multimedia devices can only process digital audio, and in case of cell phones requiring analog audio input, they still convert it to digital before transmission. So our speech is basically analog speech, but all our devices which are working near us, they all require a digital input. So they all have this converter into them, which will convert this audio analog input into a digital one. Sound fact, uh, because we should know we will be working, because finally we have to find out what are more important things in the audio numbers or audio samples, because then only the compression will happen. The human ear hears a sound from 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz depending on a person's age and health. So this is a frequency which we can hear. Okay. So anything which does not have this frequency, which does not fall into this frequency, we can simply eliminate it, because we know we will not be able to hear it. And definitely when we are doing a compression, uh, we will not be talking about age and health, because we don't know who is the end receiver of it. Nyquist theorem states that we have to sample at least twice the highest frequency. So here we have 20 kilohertz. So our sampling frequency should be at least 40 kilohertz. So 8 kilohertz is the sampling frequency which is used for a telephone speech, sorry, not switch, telephone speech. Why is it so? Because normally we say that telephone lines have given a bandwidth of 4 kilohertz. So we double the sampling frequency, so we use 8 kilohertz sampling for the telephone. 44.1 kilohertz is used by CD audio or digital audio tape, and samples at 48 kilohertz. So if you go on increasing the sampling frequency, the audio quality will go on increasing. Okay, you will have better sound representation. So, and of course, if you see, there are many sound fact, like, and because we are doing this audio compression for humans, so we have very limited range. If I talk about animals, they have a different hearing range. And finally, you have to remember the basic definition of sound, that finally it is a disturbance or sensation detected by ear, and it should be processed by our brain also. If it is not processed by our brain, then we will not call it as a sound. Okay, so for example, we are able to hear certain sounds in our sleep, because ears are always working. Okay, that mechanism is never stopping, but brain doesn't allow to process it, so we are not aware of when we are sleeping. The moment brain allows it to process, we are awake. So we it's a very interesting phenomena how the sound mechanism work, but of course we are not going to go into science. So typical plot of the audibility threshold, that means scientists have done the job for us. They have plotted a frequency, and they have plotted a dB level. I mean, up to what we can hear, what is our audible region. So if you see here, this is the from 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. This is our audible region. That means any value which is crossing this particular curve, then only we will be able to hear it decently. Okay, so audible region, that means whatever, whenever you are doing compression, you have to find out the values which lie in this region, so that you can eliminate, because it will not be audible. And this is the region where the sounds are more audible, and we are talking about a healthy person, and age where the all ear I mean the general mechanism or the general values are heard, general sounds are heard. Now one more graph which shows you the uh, perception limit, threshold, and other things. This particular graph gives you more idea that these are different phenomena which create a sound. So you have rock concert, you have car horn, you have motorcycle, you have school cafeteria when you shout at somebody, you have birds. So all these are levels which has been plotted on a graph with respect to frequency. So we are able to hear again from 20 to 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. So if you see, threshold for pain is here. So the rock concert gives you a threshold for fame. You have underwater communications. So scientists have already done a beautiful job for us where they have already plotted the free approximate frequency and the sound level ranges for a various source. And normal human hearing is shown with a white patch here. Okay, so this is where we all lie, and probably of course the pain limit differ for everybody, because this particular rock concert may not be a pain for many of you, but it is definitely pain for most of the teachers. Okay, and this whispered speech, sometimes we are not able to hear the smallest one, but in the class, if somebody makes sound or whisper something, uh, it gets, the our brain definitely tries to find out where is this sound coming from. Okay, so we have to work, we should know all these things when we will be doing the audio compression, even if we are not going to use many of the frequencies. But once we have studying this particular subject, and actually it's a beautiful area or a very interesting area where you can read more and more and find out about different things. So the graph has been included. So I think for this particular video, I will like to stop here, and in the next video we will start with the audio data compression. So this particular video, it has given you a general idea what is a sound and what is a audibility region, and what is the frequency in which work, what is the quantization, and what is the sampling frequency which we will be using. So I hope all of you have got the idea of this, and you have understood the basic terminology here. Thank you.